Ladies and gentlemen, family, and anyone fighting silent battles the world don't see, this message is for you. There comes a point in life where you look around and realize it's just you. No applause, no safety net, no one cheering when you take a small step forward, and in those moments you learn something. Success is not built from who supports you. It's built from who you choose to become when nobody does. Some of the most successful people didn't start with a team, money, or encouragement. They started with a vision, a grind, and a decision. I'm not staying where I am. Today, I'm sharing 6 Ks to getting ahead, even if no one claps for you, guides you, or believes in you yet. Before anyone invests in you, you must invest in yourself. Before the world sees something valuable in you, you have to see it first, and that's the part nobody claps for, nobody celebrates, nobody posts about. That early stage when you're planting seeds in the dark, not knowing if or when they'll grow, that's where belief is built. That belief isn't loud, it isn't flashy, and it isn't always confident. Sometimes belief is a whisper that says, keep going. Even when everything in your life seems to be yelling the opposite, there will be days when the mirror is your only witness. Days when the only person who knows you're improving, learning, fighting, changing, or trying is you. It's not the days of applause that shape you. It's the days of doubt. The days where it's just you versus your thoughts. The days when you feel like your potential is bigger than your reality, but you don't yet know how to close the gap. In those moments, what you say to yourself matters. That inner voice becomes your foundation. Belief is not a feeling, it's a discipline, a daily practice. It's how you talk to yourself when no one is listening. It's how you show up when no one is watching. It's how you keep faith in a version of yourself you haven't met yet and still work to become them. Think about the young woman who started making skincare products in her kitchen. No fancy lab, no credentials, no perfect timing. She had a vision. She saw something before it existed, and that's where all progress starts. At first, her own family brushed it off, called it a hobby, told her to focus on something realistic. She sold just a few jars a month. She posted online every day, 2 likes, 3 likes, sometimes 0. But she kept posting like 1 million people were watching. That's self-belief. She didn't wait for support to become consistent. She stayed consistent until support showed up. And 5 years later, her products are now on shelves across the country. But the success didn't start in the store, it started in her mind. That's what people don't see. They see the results and call it talent or luck. But they don't see the part where belief had to carry her for years before results showed up. Most people quit long before their blessing arrives. Not because they're incapable, but because they don't believe enough to stay through the silent season. The silence is the test. The silence is the gym that strengthens your character. The silence is where self-belief is trained. Not everyone is handed confidence. Some of us have to build it brick by brick. When you grow up around doubt, criticism, or environments where dreams are viewed as delusion, believing in yourself can feel rebellious. It can feel like you're breaking family tradition, because many people before you lived small, accepted limitations, and let fear lead. But every generation has one person who decides the story won't repeat. Maybe that person is you. Sometimes self-belief means being misunderstood. People might label you as too ambitious, full of yourself, crazy, or doing too much. Understand this, they're not reacting to who you are, they're reacting to who they never had the courage to become. Your courage will trigger some people, your growth will remind others of their stagnation, your discipline will highlight their excuses. That's why you can't base your belief on validation, because the people who doubt you now may praise you later, and if you rely on either one, you stay stuck. Self-belief needs proof, not outside proof, but internal receipts. Every time you set a goal and keep your word to yourself, your identity shifts. You start seeing yourself as someone who can do hard things, someone worthy of success. Confidence doesn't show up first, commitment does. Confidence grows from keeping promises to yourself. Tell yourself the truth. Have you kept more promises to yourself or broken more? Your self-image is built from that track record. If you constantly say you'll start tomorrow and tomorrow keeps moving, your mind stops trusting you. But if you say, I will improve, and you actually show up, even in small ways, your self-image transforms. And once you see yourself differently, the world eventually follows. Talk to yourself like someone you are responsible for protecting and developing. If you had a child, a younger sibling, or someone you deeply loved who doubted themselves, you wouldn't tell them, yeah, you're probably not good enough. You would lift them, encourage them, guide them. Why don't we do that for ourselves? Why do we defend others but destroy ourselves with negative self-talk? You deserve the same compassion you give to others. You deserve to be spoken to with care, love, and power, especially by the voice inside your own head. Self-belief is not about thinking you're better than anyone. It's about knowing that you have value no matter who recognizes it. It's understanding that your gift has a purpose, and if you don't develop it, the world loses something it needed. Somebody out there is waiting on you to step into who you are so they can be inspired, motivated, or helped by your courage. Your belief isn't just about you. It's about everyone watching you silently, praying for proof that their dreams are possible too. There will be moments when the storm is heavy, when the path looks long, when you want to quit because life feels unfair. That's when belief matters most. You have to remind yourself, this version of me is temporary. I'm working towards something bigger. You won't always feel strong, but you can always choose strong habits. You won't always feel confident, but you can always choose to show up anyway. Action builds belief more than belief builds action. Do the work and belief grows. Learn, practice, fail, try again, belief grows. When you take steps toward your future self takes steps towards you. The moment you decide to bet on yourself fully, unapologetically, consistently, life changes, not overnight, but over time. And when it does, the world starts treating you how you treat yourself. If you treat yourself like someone worth investing in, others eventually will too. If you treat your dreams like they matter, others will respect them. If you walk like you belong in the rooms you enter, doors open differently. It all begins with a decision that no one can make for you, the decision to believe. Not because proof exists, but because purpose exists. Not because the path is clear, but because deep down you know you were meant for more, and that belief, quiet, loyal, persistent, is the seed that grows into everything else. When you don't have connections, when no one is opening doors for you, when your phone isn't ringing with opportunities, you have to create your own value. You do that by becoming skilled. Skill becomes your currency. Skill becomes your credibility. Doors that stay locked for the unprepared start opening for the ones who took the time to sharpen themselves. People can overlook potential, but they can't overlook excellence forever. A lot of people want shortcuts. They want the recognition, the money, the position, the respect, but they don't want the process. They want to be seen as great before they put in the work to actually be great. But the truth is, nobody can hand you mastery. You have to earn it hour by hour, day by day, repetition by repetition. Study your craft until you are undeniable, until when your name comes up, even your critics have to say, yeah, they're solid. We live in a time where information is everywhere. The internet turned mentorship into something anybody can access if they want it badly enough. You can learn from the smartest minds and most experienced people on the planet without paying $1. You can read the book someone spent 15 years writing. You can watch interviews where successful people break down their blueprint step by step. You can listen to podcasts that give you game people used to guard like treasure. There are online courses that teach you skills your parents' generation never even had access to. The knowledge is there. The question is, are you hungry enough to go get it? A Harvard study found that people who spend just 5 hours a week learning outside of work outperform 90% of their peers within 3 to 5 years. Think about that. 5 hours a week, that's less than 1 hour a day. Meanwhile, most people spend more time scrolling through their phone, arguing online, watching shows, or envying strangers' lives. It's not that they don't have time, it's that they don't prioritize growth. That study proves that success isn't about luck, it's about development, it's about effort, it's about taking your future seriously enough to prepare for it. When you lack support, you compensate with skill. When nobody believes in you, you study until belief isn't required. That's the advantage of self-education. It doesn't depend on approval. You can be in a small town, a tough neighborhood, a crowded apartment, a place where no one else is thinking big, and still become world-class through learning. Growth is personal. Elevation starts in the mind before it shows up in your life. There are too many stories of greatness that began with no resources, only relentless learning. There's a young guy I once heard about who wanted to be a software developer. No degree, no money, no connections, and no one in his family understood tech. At night after work, he studied free coding tutorials on YouTube. He committed to 2 hours every night, no excuses. After 5 months, he built his first app. It didn't blow up. Nobody cared. He kept learning and built a second. Still nothing. On his fourth project, one of his apps started getting traction online. A company contacted him, not because he knew someone, but because his skills spoke loud enough to be heard. What changed his life wasn't luck, it was commitment to learning when no one was watching. Skill gives you leverage. Skill makes people come to you. When you're skilled, you don't chase opportunities. Opportunities start recognizing your value. Even if people don't like you, they'll respect what you're good at. Skill builds reputation. And in a world where attention is currency, value is the real wealth, most people stop learning after school. They graduate and treat education like it was a phase instead of a lifestyle. They don't realize the world evolves every day. Industries shift, technology changes, and the people who thrive are the ones who adapt, the ones who stay sharp, the ones who are students forever. The moment you think you know everything, you start falling behind. Imagine if you dedicated the next 12 months to learning something that elevates your life. Imagine reading one book a month on your craft, your finances, your mindset, or your goals. Imagine listening to 20 minutes of a powerful podcast every morning instead of gossip or noise. Imagine replacing 1 hour of scrolling with 1 hour of self-development. The compounding effect of that would change your life in ways you can't even predict yet. Even in environments where you don't have role models, you can build a virtual circle of mentors. Learn from people who have walked the path you want to walk. If you want to build a business, study entrepreneurs who started from nothing. If you want to master a trade, study the masters. Don't just watch their success. Learn their failures, their thinking, their patience, their habits, their strategy. Become a student of excellence. Learning isn't just about knowledge. It's about stretching your identity. Every new skill you acquire expands your sense of what's possible for you. The more you learn, the more confident you become in making moves others are scared to try. You start carrying yourself differently because you're informed, you're prepared. You know something most people don't. Let's be real. When you're overlooked, underestimated, or counted out, the temptation is to shrink, to believe what others say about you. But learning is how you fight back. It's how you build evidence that you are capable of more. Every new skill becomes armor. Every new lesson becomes a tool. Every hour invested in your growth becomes a brick in the foundation of your future. People will try to ignore you at first. They'll act like they don't see you improving. They won't clap for your progress. They might even laugh at your early attempts. That's expected. Excellence feels invisible until it becomes undeniable. But keep studying, keep practicing, keep getting better. Over time, the same people who ignored you will start asking, "How did you do it?" And you'll know the answer. You learned when they were comfortable. You studied when they were distracted. You disciplined yourself when they were making excuses. If you don't have the network, build the knowledge. If you don't have the support, build the skill. If you don't have the opportunities, prepare so well that when the smallest chance appears, you're ready to run with it. Nobody ignores excellence for long. If they can't deny your talent, they'll have to respect it. And when respect enters the room, everything changes. Some people let their story break them. Others use their story to break through. Life is going to hand every one of us a set of circumstances that we didn't choose. Some of those moments hit so hard they shake your identity, your confidence, and your sense of worth. But what separates those who rise from those who fold is not whether life hurt them. It's what they decided to do with the pain. Pain is unavoidable. What you do with it is a choice. Your struggle is not your identity, it's your training. Too often people let their trauma, their environment, their childhood, or their past define who they are allowed to become. They repeat the same script, the same excuses, the same patterns, because somewhere along the line they were convinced that pain meant limitation. But pain is not there to trap you. Pain is there to shape you. When life puts pressure on you, it's not always a punishment. Sometimes it's preparation. The same way muscles grow by tearing and rebuilding, character grows through adversity and recovery. When you go through abandonment, rejection, betrayal, or failure, it teaches you things comfort never will. Pain teaches resilience, the ability to bounce back after hitting the ground. It teaches empathy, the ability to feel for others, because you've been where they are and you understand that life isn't always simple. And most importantly, pain teaches strategy. It forces you to think, adapt, and find a way forward even when nothing is handed to you. Most of the best leaders, healers, innovators, and creators didn't learn from easy times. They learned from surviving storms. There's a story of a man who grew up moving between foster homes. He never had stability, never had someone to tuck him in and tell him everything would be okay. He bounced between houses, schools, and temporary families, learning early that no one was coming to save him. The world expected him to become another statistic, another broken kid who carried his trauma into adulthood, and nobody would have blamed him if he did. But at some point, he realized that everything he went through gave him a perspective most people didn't have. Instead of quitting on life, instead of allowing the hurt to harden him, he decided to turn his pain into purpose. He began mentoring teens who were facing the same battles he once did. At first, it was just a few kids in his neighborhood. Then more came. Then schools invited him to speak. Eventually, he built programs that now help thousands of foster youth find guidance, support, and confidence. His mission transformed his life. He didn't escape his pain. He elevated with it. This is what happens when you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what can this build in me? The world is full of individuals who started with less than you. Less love, less guidance, less money, less support, yet they rose. Not because life was fair to them, but because they made a decision. My pain will not be my excuse, it will be my fuel. Everyone has a story. What separates those who move forward is how they convert that story into power rather than paralysis. Pain can make you bitter, or it can make you better. You can let it harden you, close you off, make you cold, and convince you that love or trust or dreams aren't worth it. Or you can let it sharpen your vision, deepen your heart, and push you to create something meaningful so others don't have to hurt the way you did. Some people use pain as a shield, some use it as a weapon, but the ones who truly evolve use it as a tool. They take the lessons, the scars, the memories, and they build with them. The truth is, life doesn't give everyone the same starting line. But no matter where you begin, you get to choose how far you run. You may not have been responsible for the pain that was inflicted on you, but you are responsible for what you build from it now. There is someone out there who grew up with more chaos than you did and still chose peace. Someone who faced more rejection and still chose to show up. Someone who lost more and still chose to love. You are not behind, you are becoming. Think about the people you admire most, not the ones who pretend life is perfect, but the ones who survive something real. The ones who speak with depth because they've lived through darkness. When they give advice, it hits different because you can feel the truth in it. They didn't learn their strength from winning. They learned it from not giving up when everything seemed lost. Pain taught them how to stand. When you learn to turn pain into fuel, something powerful happens. You stop being a victim of your past. You stop waiting for someone to apologize, to fix what happened, to make it right. You accept that you can't change what was done, but you can change what you do next. That shift is where freedom begins. That's where growth begins. That's where self-respect begins. Turning pain into fuel means refusing to let your story end where it started. And understand this, people will try to use your past to limit you. They will say, with what you've been through, you'll never succeed, or no one from here ever makes it, or people like us don't rise. When they say that, they're projecting their own fear, not your future. They are telling you what they believe about themselves, not what's true about you. Don't accept their ceiling as your destiny. The most unstoppable individuals are the ones who have been broken and rebuilt themselves. They aren't afraid of falling anymore because they know they can rise. Once you survive a storm that should have destroyed